Following a controversial finish in the main event last weekend, Jason Herzog posted to X, "I get it. I know what I was seeing in the moment, but I've gotten enough feedback telling me I need to reevaluate, so I will." Cannonier has spoken out about the stoppage, suggesting that Herzog is under pressure from the MMA community and wants to avoid taking responsibility for his
in these
mistake.
situations. So the way, you know what I mean, lose like a warrior, go out on my shield. Not going out throwing punches, or that post could be due to social pressure as opposed to a sense of, oh damn, I fucked up. I feel bad for this guy. I need to do something to make things right. It didn't really feel like that. So
Yeah. I'm gonna come to Yao first. I mean, this whole palaver between obviously Herzog's been taking a lot of smoke. What's your take on the whole thing?
So, the one thing with MMA is when you attack the refs, it becomes a tricky game because there are only so many refs and decisions. My God, we've seen so many decisions that don't make sense. But at the end of the day, to be frank, he is right. If we look at it in the context of, I mean, what a 5-round fight is, you can't be stopping it for that. You know, there needs to be a little bit more. And the MMA community feels that he made a mistake. He's a ref. He's entitled to the decision he makes in a fight. But yeah, I think, going for the ref and then the whole community go for the ref is a little bit, then every fighter would do it. And then what would we really have as a sport? So I don't really agree with saying let's go for the ref, but I do feel that Herzog made the wrong decision. And there needs to be mechanisms in MMA to deal with situations like that rather than, dealing with the individual, which is the ref. So, crappy decisions get made by refs all the time. So let's see what happens with this one. But I don't think we should be going for the ref. We should rather be focusing on putting in the right structures universally to make sure that these things can be rectified if they happen.
McDane, I mean, Herzog is one of at least I'd say is one of the top refs in the promotion, and I don't think he makes a lot of mistakes to be getting the kind of smoke. I mean, Herb Dean lately, like we've seen what these guys have, what they've done, been involved in some really controversial decisions and stuff like that. But with Herzog catching smoke like this, man, do you think he's warranted?
No, like they're only doing the job at the end of the day. They're there to protect the fighter. And if you see a fighter that's turning his back and kind of running away from somebody whilst he's getting cracked, as well as then like covering up, yeah, he was on his feet, yeah, he was still in it, yeah, he probably could have carried on. You know what I mean? Like Cannonier said, like as the fighter, you want to go out in your shield. As the ref, you're there to protect the fighter. It's a story of two sides in it. You know what I mean? You can't just go down the middle of it. It's only one way or one opinion on which way that you need to go with it. It's a bit of a difficult one. Like you say, like people like Herb Dean comes under it. Mark Goddard's been getting it tight recently as well. People are always going to call it out. The fighter's not going to be happy about it. And sometimes you do get fighters that go, wasn't happy about it in the moment, but when I've looked at it afterwards, and yeah, fair enough, you done what you needed to do. You know what I mean? But run it back is the only thing that you could do. I'm not too sure. It seemed like Imavov was starting to get the better of the fight anyway. Like, I'm not sure if it was going to be going that way, even if it went to the five rounds. Would the outcome still have been the same? Would have Imavov would have walked away with a win, or would have Cannonier turned it up in the fifth? You're never going to know at this point. You know what I mean? So yeah, I don't think it's deserved. Like you say, Herzog's probably one of the best refs that's in the game out there at the moment, and yeah, took some stick that.
But that's just the issue, though, isn't it? Like, so. How do you determine whether a fight should be stopped or not? Is the fighter intelligently defending themselves? Mm. He had his hands up. He was swinging back. He had just connected when Herzog called the fight. I mean, referees make mistakes, don't get me wrong, but it's not like he was out and stumbling on his feet and didn't know which way it was up. He was still there.
He was turning, running away, and then firing one back when he'd like get a little bit of distance. But
yeah.
Look at Nick Diaz. Nick Diaz does that all the time. Nick Diaz, I mean, so turning around, and I get it that he was running away. We have that situation where I think it was in Bellator, where we have the two fighters literally running around the cage. So I hear you, McDane, but I'm with Leroy on this one.
I'm not like arguing against it like either. Like you said, you think it was a wrong decision and that it should have been going that way. I'm not saying that he made the right decision either.
But you say when fighters look back on the fight and say, yeah, this is probably the right call. Like, in no world was this the right call. Like, I understand you should cut the ref a little bit of slack, that you're allowed to make mistakes. Shit happens, but he was well and truly still in the fight. Without doubt. And to that point, Imavov got ripped off a win as well. Because now there's an asterisk next to that win every time it gets brought up. And he was losing the fight to begin with. Like, if you had called the fight then and there and pulled up the scorecards, Cannonier would have won.
I mean, look, for me, it's like a referee, being a referee is a thankless job. It's like being a stepdaddy, right? That shit is a fucking it's thankless job sometimes, right? But at the end of the day, when you look at the situation that they're in, they can't win, right? I'm looking back at, say, the fight between, say, Luke Michael and JP Kruger, right? Luke Michael feels aggrieved because he feels the ref should have stopped the fight when he was unloading on JP Kruger with a lot of unanswered shots. But JP Kruger then came back into the fight and got himself the win. So, but he believes the fight should have been stopped way before that and gave him life to come back, right? So there are certain situations that the ref just can't win, even though safety of the fighters is in his hands. But then some fighters, like we've seen with Yamasaki, like, boy, you know what? He's a warrior, but let him go out of this shit like a lot of the fighters want to do. You know what I mean? But let's really ask, somebody that's really been in there with refs, because none of us has been in a professional situation where maybe the ref has done us he's done us a solid, or he's taking a win away from you. I mean, Triple B, have you been in a situation where the ref is kind of done something in your favor or against your favor, or what do you think in general about referees and making mistakes and stuff like that?
Yeah, I feel like we all make mistakes. That's human nature. We all make mistakes, because we're not perfect. I had an incident, I think, in my first fight, in my debut against Gordner's, when I cracked him, and everyone was like, "Oh, that's early stoppage," shutting up. Could have unlocked, but the ref was like, "No, she was saving him there." But it's a 50-50 thing at the end of the day, But I just feel like we all make mistakes. It's a tough one because I'm a fighter. That's your guys' job to give that kind of say opinions and stuff. But I'm just there in the cage getting punched in the face or punching someone in the face.
Yeah, man, boy. Terrence says, boy, it's our job to give opinions on refs. Chat, if you're watching live, please make sure you jumping over to YouTube. Come and engage in the chat. Let's talk about these people, and make sure you liking and subscribing the platforms that you're on right now. Make sure you jumping onto the YouTube of the Rambling That Podcast, Head Kick Podcast, and the Fight Week Show. Come on over to YouTube and show some love, people. Come and engage in the chat. Salute to all of you.
A quick one, Ola. So I spoke to referee Brad Block at Bare Knuckle a few days after that fight, and he said that when JP Kruger's mouth guard came out, he said to JP, he said, "Fighter, defend yourself." And at that moment, JP picked up his mouth guard, put it back in his mouth, and pulled guard, and that's why he didn't stop the fight. So it's like you're saying, we have perspectives, and the refs also have their perspective on what's happening in the fight.
I mean, that's a fair explanation from the ref, because if he's noticing that, then he knows that JP Kruger is still in the fight. He's still got his faculty together, his cognitive, abilities are still there to be able to pick up his mouth guard, pull guard, and as you say, maybe intelligently defend himself. So yeah, man, fair play to the ref on that one. There, I'm just saying, obviously, Luke Michael was aggrieved in that situation from what he told me. Okay.
So as for the Herzog situation, though, what's the way to remedy this? So I can only really see one way to do it, and that is to make it a no contest and then rematch as soon as possible, wherever. Add an extra fight to the next guy. Just run it back.
No, they can't do that right now, can they? Because then they're going to look back at how many fights in the past. Like, there needs to be a substantial moment where they go, boom, from this point on, if this happens.
There's so many nuances, though. It's hard to put a hard and fast rule, like,
exactly.
if this happens. But I mean, like, Cannonier
needs
didn't
to
have
be
anything
decided
by
in the
fighting
moment.
down, but he needed a paycheck, so he fought down anyway.
You
And then this
can't do
happens.
it after the fact. You can't do it after the fact. Like,
Fuck yeah, you can.
can you fuck, bro? Like, we're a week out and we're about to fucking have another card on the box. You know what I mean? All right, then somebody goes, well, 2 weeks ago, the same thing happened to me. 4 weeks ago, the same thing happened to me. 8
Okay,
weeks
here's
ago,
the
same thing happened to
solution.
me.
You have a rematch card, a solely rematch card. If you feel aggrieved, there's like a Sunday card. All the rematches happen then. There's like a second tier of fighting. And if you think you're hard enough to do the rematch card and then get back to main card, that's your business.
It's an option.
On the same night.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. That's crazy. But you know
They
what,
should do it in the
people?
parking lot.
For real. Hey, people, make sure you leave it in the comments below what you think of the Herzog and Cannonier situation in the fight. Yeah, leave it in the comments below, people. If you're watching on playback, make sure you liking the video and subscribing as well on your way. Big up to everyone.
If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget we do our Dust Off Shakedown every Wednesday, 9 p.m. UK time. Don't miss it.